Welcome to Mrs. Zhao's Math World. Today we talk about something related to round angle. Please turn to page 11.8. Do you still remember what it is? For round angle, it means it goes for a cycle and then the value of the angle is 360 degrees. But this time we are talking about something different, which is we are going to add up the angles. All the angles should be all the angles here, and then which form a round angle. Like this. But this time we don't call this as round angle. Instead, we will call it as angles at a point. You see that all these angles are having the same vertex at point O. So this is the reason that we're going to use, which is angles at a point. Whenever you see that all the angles around the point are given, add them together is equals to 360 degrees. Let's move on to the examples. In this example, you can see that you get all the points surrounding at the point here, and then we can use angles at a point to find the value of b. Alright, step 1, write down the sum of the angles. And write down 360 on the right hand side of the equation. Next, write down the recent angles at a point. So you must write down these two things before you start calculation. And then we solve it as usual. And you will get the value of b equals to 140 degrees. Remember to write down the unit all the time. So please go to page 11.9 and look at practice 11.4. So this question we have some x here, but it doesn't matter. So we also have angles at a point here. So this time you are given the vertex. So please write down the name of vertex instead. And when we write down a point, this is a good habit to find a point first, and then we do it one by one in a circle. Otherwise, sometimes we may get some careless mistake and we will miss out one or two angles. So remember to write down the name of the vertex. Like this. And then finally angle XON. You see that I follow the order one by one. You see the first one, second one, third one, and fourth one. And then we put it down the sum to be 360 degrees. With recent angles at a point. So substitute them one by one. Like this. You get 3x for this one. And then for the next step, add up all the x. That means you get 8x on the left. 160 degrees. And then divide x on both sides, and you will get 20 degrees. Let's move on to part B. So this time, after we know the value of x, which is 20 degrees, right? And we are asked whether angle XOY is a straight angle, and explain your answer. So in order to do so, we need to add up all the angles. And remember, we have to write the format clearly. Otherwise, you cannot count it as correct. Okay, so step 1, write down the name of angle. And then step 2, write down the name of the other two angles which add up to be equals to angle XOY. And then put the name of angles, the values of the angles one by one. The first one is 3x, the second one is 116 degrees. And then we substitute the value of x, which is 20 degrees. Add them together, you get 176 degrees. And then, after we have done so, we cannot say that it is done. We have to check whether we got a straight angle, which means you need to check whether it is equals to 180 degrees. So, you must write down it is not equals to 180 degrees. And then we can say that no, angle XOY is not a straight angle. So that means for conclusion, we need to write at least 5 steps, okay? So step 1, write down the name of the angle. Step 2, write down the 2 different angles to be added with. But if you don't write down the values of angle one by one, it will mean that you don't know the values, okay? Then, after you have done that, check whether it is equal to 180. And then finally, write down the conclusion, therefore, write down yes or no, and say that it is not a straight angle. So all these 5 steps are required if you want to explain the answer. Step 1, find. This one means you find the angle, whether it is equal to 180. And then write down the conclusion at last. So that's the end of this video. Let's go to the next video for vertically opposite angles.